The night the sirens came, the whole street held its breath. Red and blue lights pulsed across Karen Wilkins' flawless lawn, like blood on snow. There she stood, arms locked across her chest, that cold, practiced smile carved into her face. She had summoned the law like a queen calling her knights, certain this was the endgame, the moment she'd been building toward. Behind the iron gate of our home, I watched through the security feed, heart hammering, as two officers approached her with slow, measured steps. Then, one of them touched his earpiece. A pause, a shift, a subtle hardening of the jaw. "Ma'am," he said, voice firm, "dispatch is telling us this is a false report." "There's no emergency at this address." Karen's smile shattered. "That's impossible," she snapped, voice climbing into that razor-thin pitch I'd grown to dread. I heard screaming. Something's wrong in there. I know it. But what she didn't know, what she couldn't possibly have guessed, was that the voice on the other end of that 911 call was my wife, Elaine. And she'd recognized Karen instantly. We'd moved into our dream home just 3 months before, nestled at the quiet edge of Oakwood Estates, a sanctuary, a fresh start. The land was ours, private, free, the paperwork clear, the boundaries unambiguous. Not part of the HOA, never would be. But Karen didn't believe in boundaries. She believed in control. It started with a knock, a clipboard, a saccharine smile that never reached her eyes. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she purred, already scanning our yard like a general surveying enemy terrain. "Your mailbox," she announced, "doesn't meet community standards. Replace it within 7 days." I explained, calmly, politely, that we weren't subject to her rules, offered to show her the deed. She waved it off with a laugh so condescending it stung. "Oh, that's a common misconception," she said, thrusting a 3-ring binder into my hands. Over 100 pages of absurdity, governing paint swatches, gnome heights, porch light curfews, a tyranny of triviality. And then the visits began. Landscaping, lighting, noise complaints about birds. Each time I stood firm. Each time she grew sharper, more unhinged. When we ignored her, she taped violation notices to our mailbox like cursed scrolls. When that failed, she appeared with a camera, documenting our home from the sidewalk like a detective at a crime scene. Once, she blocked our driveway with her golf cart, the chariot of suburban dictators, measuring our hedges with a tape measure while lecturing me on community responsibility for 20 minutes. Then came the certified letter, $750 in fines for violations that didn't exist. That's when I built the gate. Simple. Iron, a keypad, an intercom, a silent declaration. This is ours. Karen exploded. Voicemails, threats, demands for the code for emergencies. Non-existent bylaws cited with venomous confidence. I saved every word, every threat, every escalation. Elaine, listening to it all, whispered the truth I didn't want to face. "This woman won't stop. We might need a restraining order." Then came that morning. I was working when the buzzer rang, once, twice, then a furious, unbroken tone. On camera, Karen stood there, finger jammed against the button, face set like stone. I answered. "You need to open this gate immediately," she demanded. "I'm conducting an inspection." "Karen," I said, calm, final, "you have no authority here. We're not part of your HOA. Leave our property." Her face twisted. "Don't you dare question my authority. I've been president for 7 years. Open this gate, or there will be consequences." I sighed. "Karen, I'm working. Please go, or I'll report you for harassment." "You'll regret this," she hissed, storming back to her cart. I thought it was over. It wasn't. 20 minutes later, the cameras caught her pacing, phone to her ear, gesturing wildly at our house. "Yes," she said, voice shrill. "I need police, immediately. I heard screaming. They won't open the gate." Someone could be hurt. 4287 Oakwood Drive. My blood turned to ice. She was calling 911, lying, putting us in danger. I tried Elaine. No answer. She was on duty. All I could do was wait, watching Karen on the screen, pacing like a predator, smirking at the camera. What I didn't know? Elaine had answered the call. She'd heard Karen's voice, recognized it, recognized our address, knew there was no emergency. She followed protocol, but she also flagged the call, marked it as potential false report. Dispatched officers for a welfare check, not an emergency response, and quietly noted, caller is a documented harasser of this residence. 10 minutes later, the cruiser arrived. Karen rushed forward, pointing, performing. I stepped out, gate closed behind me, ID in hand. Officers, I'm the homeowner. There's no emergency. This woman has been harassing us for months. One officer nodded. Then his earpiece crackled. He listened. His expression changed. Sir, he said, turning to me, is your wife, Elaine Miller? I nodded. She's on dispatch right now. She's given us the full context. Then he turned to Karen, whose smile was cracking like old paint. Ma'am, he said, voice hardening, did you call 911 reporting screams and a possible emergency at this address? Yes, she insisted. They wouldn't open the gate. Someone could be hurt. The officer didn't blink. Ma'am, the dispatcher who took your call is this man's wife. She's confirmed there was no emergency. She's also informed us that you've been repeatedly harassing this family, despite their property being outside your jurisdiction, and that you've made similar false claims about other residents in the past. Color drained from Karen's face. That's not true. I heard something. She's covering for him. The second officer stepped forward. Ma'am, all 911 calls are recorded. We have your exact words. Neighbors had gathered now, peering from driveways, porches, windows, watching, listening. For the first time, Karen had no script. Karen Wilkins, the officer said, you're under arrest for filing a false police report and misuse of emergency services. No, this is ridiculous, she shrieked. I'm the president of the HOA. I'm protecting this neighborhood. But the cuffs clicked shut, and as they guided her toward the cruiser, she turned, eyes burning with fury, and spat, This isn't over. I looked her in the eye, calm, certain. Actually, Karen, I said, I think it is. The neighbors stood in silence. Then, one by one, they stepped forward. An older man, Mr. Callahan from down the street, cleared his throat. We've wanted to say something for years, he admitted. No one had the courage. Later, Elaine called me on her break. Her voice was steady. I couldn't believe she'd go that far, she said, but I made sure every second was documented. Her lie is on record. 3 weeks later, Karen stood in court, found guilty, $5,000 fine, 1 year probation, 200 hours of community service, and a restraining order, 100 feet from our home. No contact, ever. But the sweetest justice? It came from within the HOA, an emergency meeting, a secret ballot, and a unanimous vote. Karen Wilkins, removed as president. As she was escorted out, dazed, humiliated, the woman who ruled with clipboard and fear finally understood. Her reign was over, and peace, real, unshakable peace, had finally found its way through the gate.